Wall Street officially enters bull market territory as the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones hit record highs. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific open higher, while the GIFT Nifty is also indicating a higher start for the Indian market. Oil prices rise on Monday. Brent hits $80 a barrel as Ukraine reportedly attacks a major Russian fuel terminal over the weekend, raising renewed concerns about supply disruptions. As Sony pulls the plug on a $10 billion merger with Zee, the latter says it will consider all options, including legal recourse against Sony. Zee's exchange filing says it will also contest Sony's demand of $90 million in termination fees and the Japanese giant's allegations that Zee breached the merger agreement. ICICI Bank's third-quarter numbers beat estimates, but net interest margin hits a five-quarter low. Cipla too delivers a top-down beat, reporting beat on margin, revenue and net profit. In key earnings to track, Axis Bank, Havells, Pidilite and United Spirits will report third-quarter numbers today. Prime Minister Modi leads the much-awaited Ram Mandir consecration ceremony in Ayodhya along with RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat and UP CM Yogi Adityanath. Thousands of devotees converge in Ayodhya. With this, one of BJP's decades-old manifesto promise reaches a finality months ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. Good morning in the Mumbai News Center. I'm Sonal Bhutra and you're watching Power Breakfast. Those are the top headlines that we're tracking for you. There's a lot that we got over the weekend that we need to track very closely. But first up, let's take a look at what the Asian markets are doing currently. Largely higher. It was a very strong handover that we got from Wall Street. Record highs on a lot of these indices. Dow above that 38,000 mark. And that is something which is reflecting in Asian markets as well. So the Taiwanese index, it is up around 30 points. We have the Hang Seng sitting with gains of 0.6%. Nikkei is one of the biggest gainers. It's up around 0.5%. There was no rate change by the Bank of Japan. So that is something that the street there is liking. And the GIFT Nifty, that will come up for you on the screen because that one is indicating that the start for our own markets, well, we could see a gap up opening today. A 150-point uptick is what the implied open as per the GIFT Nifty rates is suggesting. And in the US markets, Wall Street ended positive. The Dow Jones advanced more than 100 points to hit a new record and close above 38,000 for the first time. The S&P rose 0.2%, also hitting a new time high, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 0.3%. These moves add to the S&P 500's advance after it officially reached bull market territory on Friday, topping both its previous intraday as well as closing all-time highs from January 2022. And as corporate earnings season continues this week, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble and Lockheed Martin are set to report before the markets open tomorrow. Netflix will release results after the markets close. Okay, so these earnings reaction is something that we'll track very closely and the impact on US markets as well. But that's the global market action. How will these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have a research team joining in with what the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to both of you. Sudarshan, let me come across to you first up. What is the market setup looking like today?
Morning, Sonal. So, well, the cues on both global and domestic front are suggesting that we'll be starting the week on a positive note. On domestic front, earnings came over the weekend or say over the last 2 days, especially both the Nifty companies, ICICI Bank and Cipla, have been better than estimates. Now, let me first talk about the global cues. US market closed the first day of the week on a positive note with minor gains, but at a record high. All the three major US indices closed with the gains in the range of 0.2 to 0.4%. Coming to our market, on Saturday on thin volumes, broader market saw a close with minor healthy gains with benchmark indices closing in the red. Major drags for Nifty came in from IT and FMCG majors. But the good point was the biggest weighted stock on Nifty, HDFC Bank, snapped its 3-day losing streak. Today, for both Nifty and Nifty Bank, the move will largely depend on how ICICI Bank reacts to its Q3 earnings. Shifting focus to institutional activities, on Saturday, both FIs and DIs were net sellers. FIs sold shares of Rs 545 crore, while the sell figure for DIs was more than Rs 700 crore. GIFT Nifty is today indicating a start with gains. It's indicating a positive start. It's up more than 100 points. Coming to commodities, both Brent and NYMEX surged 2% overnight on the report suggesting that a Ukrainian drone has hit Russian oil facility which exports oil of more than 1.5 million barrels per day. Talking about cues to watch, Qs was we'll have some major earnings that will be reporting. We'll have Axis Bank, Havels, USL and Pidilite. Also keep an eye on Netflix that will be reporting its earnings for December quarter.
Okay, all right. So those are all the stocks and the market focus for us. But the other stocks that will be on our radar, we have Hormuz joining us with that now. Hormuz.
The Zee Entertainment undoubtedly will be the stock of the day today with the merger being called off with Sony. And Sony has also demanded a $90 million termination fee for alleged breach of terms. Nisha will speak more about it in the next segment. But the stock is in the F&O band today, despite the multiple downgrades that brokerages have given Zee Entertainment post this merger being called off. ICICI Bank, as Sudarshan highlighted, will be the one in focus as well. Mixed bag. Earnings, core operating profit growth was a 17-quarter low. NIMs were at a 5-quarter low. But asset quality was better. The ADR also ending 4% higher overnight. Cipla's US business reported the highest ever sales, and its sales were above the $200 million mark for the 4th straight quarter. So we'll keep that on our radar as well. Also reacting to earnings, good numbers from Persistent Systems and Coforge. Zensar Tech's numbers were weak, but Colgate Palmolive, IDFC First and Oberoi Realty are also some of the stocks that will be reacting to results. Tata Motors will decide to increase the prices of its passenger vehicles by 0.7% on average starting the 1st of February 2024. And lastly, Keystone Realtors, which has signed an LOI for redevelopment projects in Malad West for a gross development value of 1,200 crore rupees. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us with all those stocks that will be on our radar. Finally, all the cues from the F&O space as well. Magnam is joining us now.
Good morning. So, the trend on the market over the last few days, as the chart comes up and tells you, is that we are facing a lot of selling at the higher levels itself. The last 4 trading sessions, every time the markets moved higher from the day's high, we've actually closed around 70 to almost 280 points lower, and that was the case on a thinly traded Saturday as well. The FIs, they've been selling in cash market. The abysmal volumes on Saturday notwithstanding, we did see a 545 crore worth sell in the cash market too. And this week itself, we've seen nearly 24,000 crore worth selling itself. And not just in cash market, the FI selling was also in index futures. At the start of the week, the FIs were long by almost 66%, nearly 80,000 net long contracts. And in just 4 trading sessions, the longs have dropped to 46%, with net short contracts being around 22,000, telling you that 1 lakh short contracts, net short contracts have been added in just 4 trading sessions. The Nifty will be important to see a couple of levels. One is the 20-day moving average, a level that it struggled to stay over and close over after it's broken that. And the lower level, at the lower level, we'll watch out for the Jan 18th low of 21,285 itself. The Nifty Bank, which will be buoyed today by ICICI Bank, important to see whether it crosses past that 50-day moving average, which it broke on Saturday, and then makes a dash towards the 20-day moving average itself. The one stock that I'll be watching out for will be Zee. After the big binary event that came in terms of news over the weekend, the stock, remember, is in F&O band. The merger with Sony has been called off, and there have been multiple brokerage downgrades with target price cuts anywhere between 40 to 50 odd rupees from their current price. So it will be very interesting to see how this stock pans out in today's session.
Okay, all right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us and prepping us up for this trading day ahead. Talking about Sony, it has called off $10 billion merger deal with Zee Entertainment. We'll get you more details on this on the other side of this very short break. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast. Let's talk about the big story that we got yesterday. Sony has called off $10 billion merger deal with Zee Entertainment. They've sought termination fee of $90 million as well on breaches alleged by the company. Nisha is here with more details on this important story. Nisha.
Thanks for that. Yes, it has been a dead end for both Zee as well as Sony for a merger process which would have created the largest media and entertainment company in India worth $10 billion. After 2 years of rigorous work, after getting all the regulatory approvals, finally this deal has come to a dead end after Sony sent a termination letter to Zee, not looking at an extension which was sought by Zee Entertainment to complete the merger process. Now, what Sony has said is that the reason for not extending is that closing conditions weren't satisfied and they wanted to terminate this particular deal. They've also slapped a $90 million of termination charges, which Zee has said that they are going to contest, and there could be arbitration proceedings between the two as well. Legal tangle aside, Puneet Goenka, in his first comments after the termination letter really reached Zee, from the Ayodhya ceremony. He called it a sign of God. Irrespective of that, MD and CEO position of Puneet Goenka was speculated to be the bone of contention between the two parties looking at a merger. Surprisingly, Sony has not mentioned that in its letter and the statement to the exchanges as well. However, Zee has clarified that Puneet Goenka offered to step down from the position and even gave alternative proposal which was not agreeable to Sony. Also to remember, Zee has said that they will continue with organic as well as inorganic options and keep evaluating it for future as well. Now, looking at the stock, that will be in focus. CLSA has come out with a sell rating, target cut to 198 rupees per share from 300 earlier, and UBS has also said that in the light of merger not going through, the stock may decline by 20% from the current levels. All in all, it is a loss for the media and entertainment sector in the country, and also the intense competition that is really gearing up. Both Sony and Zee will have to fight it solo.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining us with all those details. In fact, Anuj Singhal spoke to the MD and CEO of Zee Enterprises after Sony's termination of the deal. Listen in to what he had to say.
मैं तो ये मानता हूँ कि जिस काम में मैं 2 साल से सच्चाई से और मेहनत से लगा था, अगर वो नहीं होता है तो दुख तो जरूर होता है, बट आज के पावन दिन पे इसको मैं पॉजिटिवली लूंगा। देखते हैं आगे क्या होता है।
आगे मानते हैं कि आगे कुछ और बेटर ऑप्शन होंगे आपके पास?
और क्यों नहीं होंगे, जरूर होंगे। आज के तो हमने इतना बड़ा एसेट क्रिएट किया है, तो इस एसेट के लिए तो हम तो यही काम करते रहेंगे कि हम हमारे शेयर होल्डर्स को, हमारे स्टेक होल्डर्स को, हमारे पार्टनर्स को हमेशा वैल्यू डिलीवर करें और उसी तरीके से काम करेंगे।
Okay, that is the word coming in from Puneet Goenka. With that, we'll slip into a break. Up next, Prime Minister Modi leads the much-awaited Ram Mandir consecration ceremony in Ayodhya. We'll get you more details on the other side. Stay tuned. And the much-awaited Pran Pratishtha or consecration ceremony of the Ram Janmabhoomi temple in Ayodhya has been completed, fulfilling what has been claimed as a 500-year-old wait for the homecoming of the Lord Ram. It also brings to finality a decade-old project of the BJP months ahead of the elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who led the ceremony, said that January 22 is not a date on a calendar, but the dawn of a new era.
मुझे विश्वास है प्रभु राम आज हमें अवश्य क्षमा करेंगे। मैं आभार व्यक्त करूंगा भारत की न्यायपालिका का, जिसने न्याय की लाज रख ली। वो भी एक समय था जब कुछ लोग कहते थे कि राम मंदिर बना तो आग लग जाएगी। ऐसे लोग भारत के सामाजिक भाव की पवित्रता को नहीं जान पाए। राम लला के इस मंदिर का निर्माण भारतीय समाज के शांति, धैर्य, आपसी सद्भाव और समन्वय का भी प्रतीक है।
And India and captains turned up in full force in Ayodhya for the Ram Temple consecration. Reliance Chairman Mukesh Ambani, Bharti Group Sunil Mittal, Kumar Mangalam Birla of the Aditya Birla Group, Tata Sons Chairman N. Chandra were among the dignitaries. The Mani family has made a donation of 2.51 crore rupees to Ram Janmabhoomi Trust. Remember, Ayodhya has already been touted as a tourism powerhouse. According to a report by Jeffries, the temple town could attract over 50 million tourists a year. The report highlights that the $10 billion Ayodhya makeover is now set to transform the ancient city from a sleepy town to a global religious and spiritual tourist hotspot.
Rakshit, we are operating the only branded hotel in Ayodhya today. We are operating a Radisson brand called Park Inn by Radisson. And we've been working with the owners who are from Ayodhya itself for the last many years. There are at least 15 to 20 other hotel projects, branded hotel projects that are on the anvil. So give it 5 to 6 years, you'll have a fair amount of supply. Ayodhya has gone in the right way in terms of planning. You got the infrastructure first, you got the roads, you got a railway network, you have the airport. So all of that is in place. We can't be asking for a lot more.
Everybody who is in the business of F&B will be getting to Ayodhya because it is going to be a huge place for tourism. And wherever tourism is, you need the F&B infrastructure as well. But everybody, understand something. If about 6 to 8 crore people are expected to visit Ayodhya every year, it is a huge opportunity. And I'm very confident that every restaurateur worth his salt will make a visit to Ayodhya, and they'll be soon looking at opportunities to open their stores.
India is the net exporter of tourists. We receive far less tourists than what we send abroad. When we promote spiritualism, when we create facilities, when we build anchors like city of Ayodhya, hopefully it will support the tourism sector. In Kasi, we have seen about 5 crore people visiting every year. More than 12 crore people have visited in 2 years. And the entire economy of Kasi has been rejuvenated. My hope and prayer is that Ayodhya becomes next Kashi or even bigger than Kashi and becomes anchor for attracting tourists into India.
Okay, that's the Ayodhya opportunity. With that, we'll take your leave on this edition of Power Breakfast. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bazaar Morning Call comes up next with all the market action.